Welcome back to the chase this week. I appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, the past week I've been really busy. I've had a lot of work. Didn't get out hunting for myself very much this week, but you know, my top goal this year is to get Casey her first bull buck. And she came down this week, she joined me. We got a few hunts in and we got really close to sealing the deal. We're headed out. Casey's up to bat tonight. We sat this morning. It was a very slow sit. It's really hot here in Iowa. It's 86 degrees today for a high. It's 86 tomorrow for a high. So we're not expecting super high movement. But Zeb's gonna go scout a spot for us. Casey and I are gonna go sit in this new redneck. We left our bow in there just because it's a long walk to the blind, and hopefully it'll save us some time. So hopefully, with any luck, one of these bucks steps out tonight. All right, let's boogie.
The evening of October 11th, and Kaleb and I are sitting in the same spot that we sat this morning, but I don't know if you can tell, but it is really hot in here, and Kaleb and I are both pretty drenched. But even though it's hot, we've been seeing on the cuttybacks some movement down here in the evenings, and actually last weekend where Kaleb and I were walking in to hunt, we noticed all these bucks were coming this direction. This is also a transition, a green to grain, is what I learned from Kaleb. And we also have a pond behind us too, so we're hoping these bucks will be coming in here and transitioning that direction, and then we'll get them on their feet. So with any luck, we're going to sit back and see what happens. Guys, that was one of my better sits for this early October, and especially for this heat. Kaleb and I had doe so close to us we could barely move. All I gotta say is thank goodness for ergonomics, because we had deer all around us the entire time and we never got busted, so that was pretty cool. Definitely super cool encounters, and I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.
Right on. We had deer, literally straight downwind.
Yeah, we're all right here.
Right below the blind.
And behind us, on the sides.
We had them every direction.
Yeah, literally every direction.
All right, let's bounce. These deer don't come out here until I think a little late, but we're probably gonna have to sneak.
It's October 12th and I'm here with Kaleb on his work for permission farm. It's a little bit hotter today, breezy, but tomorrow looks like this cold front's coming in. So today Kaleb and I elected to pull it Kaleb style and try out this guy here, and we'll see if we can get on our feet and see a mature buck. But
why are we using it?
Huh?
Why are we using it?
So I can draw back and the deer not see me.
We're hunting on the ground.
Oh yeah, we're hunting on the ground and
tight corridors. If you do draw back, we don't have much cover where we're going. So that decoy, they're just gonna think it's a deer. It's gonna give you an opportunity to get a shot.
Yeah. What Kaleb said.
I'm gonna give her a shot. Let's get it.
Well, we just got set up here. And I got Kaleb right in front of me, about 15 yards. He's gonna kind of give me a signal when one of these mature bucks step out. But I have this trail coming through these beans right in front of this tree. So I'm just kind of sitting back behind this tree. I got this decoy. Plan is that I'm gonna shoot off my knees, kind of peek around using this decoy to cover me, and hopefully get a good shot. But it's gonna be pretty close. It's gonna be intense. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. KG style.
Here's what my setup looks like. I'm in a range. Got me a nice little hole carved out right here. Bunch of rocks right here. And then this tree right here. Casey and I, we scouted the other day. There was scrapes all over it. There's multiple trails coming right to it. I know that there's some good bucks up in this corner. I've only got one camera in this area. There's some good bucks here though. Ones that Casey would be pumped to shoot. So, acorns, I can see them all over this tree. They're dropping. We're taking a shot, I don't know. I'm the type, if you can visualize it in your head, a plan, then it can come together. We just need the deer to be moving. We've got a south wind switching to northwest. When we came in, we waited for that switch. 5 o'clock it was supposed to switch. And sure enough it did. And we've got a dominant westerly wind right now, so. Turn around and kill that deer.
He's right there.
Oh my God.
Do you want me to shoot him?
Turn around and kill the deer.
He's gonna see me. How far is that?
Oh my God.
I don't know how far that is.
30.
30.
Please.
It's so dark, Caleb.
Draw back.
It's too dark.
Oh my gosh, what a tank.
He's still there. He's coming back.
Yep.
He's coming in.
Huh? That's 40.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Well, guys, that was crazy. I don't even know what to say. That was really intense. Definitely saw one of the bucks out from a distance with a smaller buck. Miscommunication on my part. Kaleb was telling me 40. I thought he was saying it was a 4-year-old. So as that buck was coming in, I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna hang tight here. I could see the buck we were in after was out a little further. So I was like, just don't move, hopefully he won't bust me. Unbeknownst to me, it was a mature buck. But that one we were in after ended up coming into about 30, 35 yards. I started to draw back, but I just didn't feel 100% comfortable taking that frontal shot as it was starting to get a little dark outside, so I didn't want to potentially injure an animal. But other than that, that was one of the most craziest hunts I've ever experienced in my life. I still have a lot to learn. Hunting on the ground is definitely a different game, that's for sure. But yeah, I have a ton of adrenaline going through me right now. That was crazy. It's super cool. Definitely grateful for that experience for sure. But hopefully we can have something like that again, and maybe I'll be a little bit more educated on what to do, but I don't even know what to say. I'm pretty speechless. That was intense. And to sum it up, it was intense. Super cool. Doe was close by. We had turkeys around us. It was an eventful hunt, that's for sure, even though it was warm outside. It's pretty crazy. But Kaleb and I are going to get after it tomorrow morning too, and we'll see what happens.
All right, it's a couple days after that last hunt that you guys just watched. I want to end this video with some education and some insight on why we use that decoy, what went right, what went wrong. A lot of learning takeaways from that hunt, but I also want to end it with what I'm seeing in the woods right now, this year and prior years in the past. So as far as this last hunt that you guys just watched, the decoy that we had on Casey's bow, it's an ultimate predator decoy. And the way I learned about this decoy, you guys, it came to me through the guys over at Hoyt. I did a podcast last year with Danny Ferris over at Hoyt, and after the podcast, we were talking about the Vendetta hunt on the ground encounter and everything, and he was like, dude, you need to try out this decoy that I have. He has his own business, and it's called the Ultimate Predator Decoy. And these decoys, they can fold up into like a 6-inch in diameter disc, easy to pack and whatnot. There's bucks, there's does, he makes turkeys, moose, elk, he's got it all. And you know, initially I looked at it and I'm like, what the heck is this thing? Like, is this really gonna work? Diving into why we use that decoy, that particular hunt. So going into that hunt, I knew exactly where we were hunting. It was a lone oak in the middle of a bean field. It was a super overlooked spot, but as I said in that video, there was tons of scrapes, tons of acorns coming from that tree and right under it. And it was in the middle of a bean field. It was diversity out there. So I thought, you know, that's probably a good spot for a buck to be. And we pretty much just chose that location just on a whim last second on the way out to actually go scouting. That was our initial plans for that hunt. And anyways, I told Casey, you know, this is gonna be tight quarters. We're gonna hide behind this tree, and if a buck comes, he's gonna be 5 to 10 yards away. So when you go for a shot, you don't wanna expose your body, because that buck, that doe, or any other deer that might come in during that hunt, it's gonna spook if it sees you, obviously. Well, last year, I tested this decoy out, and I found out that you can draw back in front of a buck, and they do not care whatsoever. So that was the reasoning behind why we use that decoy. It was only to get drawn back on a deer if it were to come in and commit to that tree. Now, dissecting and going a little further on what went right, what went wrong, we had a doe come in at one point, and Casey showed that decoy to that doe, and as that doe started working to the right, she made sure that she was behind that decoy, behind her bow, and just pointed it at the doe the entire way. She didn't end up spooking, blowing, or running away. So that kept us in the game on that hunt. Now, later on that afternoon, I'm a knucklehead, I didn't video it because I didn't really think it would work, but I snort wheezed really loud the last 30 minutes of daylight, and I started making a scrape with my hands. After I did that, I paused for about 15 seconds, and there were some shrubs off to my left. For about 30 seconds, I just started thrashing it, trying to paint the picture that, you know, there was a buck nearby. It was safe for other deer to come in and commit to this tree and to come check it out. Well, sure enough, 3 or 5 minutes later, both of those bucks came in and they committed all the way 5 yards to the tree. Now, what went wrong with that hunt is just the communication. You know, if it was me per se behind that tree, behind the bow, I would have made sure that I could have just snuck around that tree a little bit to watch these bucks as they come in the entire way. This was a great learning opportunity for Casey. You know, we talked about what we should have changed there, and what we should have changed is Casey should have always been looking at the buck as it's coming in. Always, when you're ground hunting, you always have to be scanning for deer. Just because if you have any kind of movement, you're at the ground level. You're not up in the tree way above the deer. The deer aren't walking around looking at the clouds all day. You're on ground level with them, so they're going to catch movement quite a bit more, and that decoy helps conceal that movement. But earlier on in that hunt, you heard a couple does blowing. Well, they didn't get our wind. We had a northwest wind. They saw Casey moving. So the one thing that I would have changed, Casey couldn't get swung around in time. So you always have to make sure you're looking for deer 24/7, but you have to make sure that you have that decoy positioned right in front of the deer, so it's not looking at you. When that buck popped out on the left side instead of the right, he saw Casey's outline. It stuck out like a sore thumb. Immediately he locked onto Casey right away. Now when she swung that decoy around, and the other buck, the bigger buck we were in there after, when he saw it, he was like, like, what is that? It piqued his curiosity. Now, she did, when she drew back, she kind of lifted it. I was talking to her to shoot. It was a little bit of chaos there. So the biggest takeaway there is always have that decoy, if you're going to use it, positioned towards the deer, and always be looking for deer. Don't forget that. Now, in other scenarios, you know, right now I'm only going to use that decoy just to if I'm in a close quarters and I want to draw back on a deer. Now, here in the next few weeks, rut's going to take place here in Iowa. In southern states, that might be prolonged here in another month or so. Zeb was telling me that, you know, rut doesn't really take place in Tennessee. What is it, Zeb, like December time frame?
It's like Tennessee's last week of November, first week of December. Mississippi's like second, third week of December every year.
Awesome, awesome. So it's, man, that's so cool to see the different time frames of the rut as you go south. But, you know, once we get to the rut, I'm going to use 2 decoys. Obviously, you need 2 people there. Zeb's going to be the buck, or I might be the buck per se, and the other individual is going to be the doe. We're going to paint the picture that it's a buck locked down with a doe. Now, last year, when I used this decoy, it was the only time I got to use it during season. There was it was actually late season, and second rut, it's real down here. Actually, this morning Casey and I, we went to go grab breakfast, and we saw 2 August fawns with a mature doe. And that's what I was talking about on last week's video. You know, I really need to pay attention to the ratio on this farm. I'm getting off track, but back to the rut with this decoy. The one thing that I would have changed there, if you're going to be the buck and you have the buck decoy in front of your bow, you need to understand that this buck is going to come straight into your face. He's going to come 5-10 yards away, whatever it is, but he's going to come in head on more than likely. Last year I was waiting for him to turn quarter 2 just a touch like I shot Vendetta, but he never did that. He stayed head on, and I hesitated there. If I would have shot on that last second when he stopped, I could have killed that deer, but he stopped. I hesitated. I was waiting for him to turn, and he started getting a little bit more alert, like, oh, what the heck is that kind of deal. And that's when I hesitated. I didn't want to injure that deer. So one thing, if you are not comfortable with that head-on shot, you want to be the doe decoy, and you want to have your buddy or whoever's with you be the buck. Put all the focus on the buck. If you are, say like Vendetta last year, if you spot a deer out on a fence line, and you and your buddy, you're going out there. This is a perfect way to use this ultimate predator decoy. But if you want to take the focus off of you and you want a broadside shot, you have to be the doe and your buddy has to be the buck. Kind of went in circles there, didn't I, Zeb? Good information though, nonetheless. But I'm trying to think of anything else I want to talk about with this decoy. You know, when I initially put my hands on this decoy, I had no idea. It was kind of like an e-bike for me. When I first got on an e-bike, I was like, oh, I don't know about this thing. And then I started ripping on it. I'm like, yeah, this is the bee's knees. Well, this decoy is the same way. I truly believe that this decoy is going to change the hunting industry. This is actually my second goal this year. My top goal for myself, per se. But I really want to see how close I can get to a buck. And I want to shoot my buck this year with this decoy on my bow. I'm really hooked on the ground encounters. It's a lot more intense. I think you guys just got the picture from this last hunt, but I'm really excited. I hope you guys check it out. We'll put the link to the website in the video or whatever. But as far as what I'm seeing in the woods right now, you know, a lot of guys call the early muzzleloader time frame, or just this time, the middle of October, the October lull. I'm not a believer in that. These bucks, they're on their feet. Now I've got a lot of buddies that have been out the past week, or really the past 4 or 5 days. And you know, we had a front come through. We had really good weather. So we're seeing a lot of deer, but on those sits where we're seeing multiple does, 15, 20, 25 does, we're not seeing any mature bucks. Now in these oddball locations, like we had with Casey's hunt, we only saw 2 does that particular night, and we saw 3 mature bucks. I had a friend kill here just the other day, and he said, dude, I didn't see any deer whatsoever other than the buck that I killed. So it's really interesting to see what the deer are doing on, So it's really interesting to see exactly how these mature bucks are staging right now. They are not close to the does whatsoever. Normally this time of year, I'm seeing the bucks more isolated. Sure, sometimes you might get 2 mature bucks with each other. That was the case for this last hunt, but that's not the normality, in my opinion. Normally I'm seeing these bucks bedded in super isolated pockets, stuff that is overlooked, but just away from doe bedding areas. And I understand people get mixed up on the doe bedding, but if you have a bedding area that you know there is a pile of does in there, that more than likely that mature buck is not going to be there. A mature buck wants to be off by himself, especially this time of year. Now the summer, that's different. They want to be in their bachelor groups. They'll be around does feeding in the afternoons, but right now that is just not what I'm seeing. In past years, I've always said early muzzleloader, man, it's a booner killing season, because I've always seen really, really good bucks. This time of year, I'm never in bolt range on them because they're in such weird places. I can recall one hunt off the top of my head. You know, Casey and I, we were doing early muzzleloader, and this buck we were hunting heavy 10. He was in a cut bean field, but he was in a little waterway is where he was bedded all day. He wasn't around any does, any other bucks. He was off by himself in the most overlooked, what the heck is he doing there spot. So I hope this video sparks some interest for you guys. You know, I'm all about, if you guys watch the videos, you can probably understand that I love hunting, but I love having fun while I'm hunting. I'm not a very serious hunter. I might be pretty technical, but I like having a good time when I'm out there. And this decoy it'll put a smile on your face. I'm sure you guys could feel my, or could hear my heart beating out of my chest. But, and then, you know, don't overlook those overlooked spots. If you're not seeing any bucks on camera, if you're not seeing any bucks in your food plot, don't worry about it. Try a different part of the farm. Try an overlooked, nonchalant spot where you have good access, just like Casey and I had in this last spot, and shoot your shot. Get in there and try it out. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'm looking forward to next week's video, and we got some really good weather coming up here in Iowa. We might be going to Wisconsin here real soon. So, got anything to add, Zeb?
See you next week.
See you next week.